What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Bianconeri Zone for another transfer daily extra video. We're gonna keep doing this because there's a lot of news. You guys like them, so we're gonna keep pushing them. Before we get into some interesting news, I'm not gonna talk about the game. Basically, it was bad. Thank God it's over. It was actually the worst game of the season, and we will talk during the lives moving forward if actually just bringing in players is good enough to fix that mess, because it's more than just players. But that's for a different show. Before we get into it, like the video, subscribe to the channel as always, because we have some big things planned, especially ahead of the next season. We're gonna do some fun stuff, so stay tuned for that. Now let's get into the news. The main news is Pogba, Romeo, because everybody was waiting on Romeo. People were saying, but Romeo is not speaking, so maybe it's not true. Romeo came out because he's at a wedding, so that's why he's not tweeting or that active. And he said negotiations are progressing nicely. It's not a done deal, because someone texted me and said, it's not done. I never said it's done. I said it's 99%. That's what it is. It's 99% now. I think just the papers need to be signed. Apparently there will be a new meeting next week, and that will be the final meeting, and then the deal will be finalized like the Di Maria one. That's basically it. Again, it's only, I agree, it's only done when it's actually done. So I'm not gonna sit here and say let me see if there's actually broke some news. No, I'm not gonna sit here and say it's done, because it's not done. The figures are still the same. They're still 8 plus 2 plus 3 3-year deal. That's what the range is being discussed, in terms of what we're gonna pay for him. So that's not gonna change, I think so, because that's the max we're gonna pay for him. So that deal looks to be concluded at the start of next week, or next week else. Like, we should have a here we go next week for him. And Di Maria, same thing. We should have basically 2 new players even before the transfer market is officially open. So let's see how that will develop. Again, nothing news, it's just confirmation that it's very close. So I can talk about it, but I'm gonna repeat myself basically, because they're tweeting out the same thing or writing the same thing, that it's basically done, So let's see how that will develop next week. Will it be next week? That's the biggest question at the moment. If it's gonna be next week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, whatever. Let's see how that story will develop with the club, when that meeting is actually gonna take place, and when we are gonna wrap up those 2 deals. So I'm not gonna dwell on it too much. I'm gonna move on to the next one. And the next one was Di Marcio. He spoke before the game started, because he was sitting in the studio, and he came out saying Moise Kean wants to leave Juve. And then he added to it, Luca Pellegrini has also given his availability to play for another club to get more playing time. Juve spoke about it with Raffaella Pimenta on Monday. So that's the agent of Pogba, Pellegrini, Kean. I'm going to say amazing news. Because we were sitting here and was like, okay, the problem of who's going to buy Kean for that money is still existent. But he wants to leave, so that's a positive thing in terms of you don't need to worry about that. Same goes for Pellegrini. He wants to leave. He didn't want to leave last summer. He stayed. He was left out of the Champions League list the first part of the season. Second part he made it just because Ramsey got injured. Allegri doesn't rate him. He doesn't rate Sandro, but he also doesn't rate Pellegrini. I keep saying we need 2. I think we need a lot. Like, we need more. We also need a right back, but I think we need to replace 2 left backs. But I understand that we need a starting left back, and then we should look at the one on the bench. The issue is Alexandro is on 6 million euros, Pellegrini is on 1.3. Like, even if you need to pay 50 million for Pellegrini, clubs will do that before getting Alexandro and paying him 6 million euros, because nobody's paying Alexandro 6 million euros, and he's not going to say, I will take 2 million now. He's not going to do that. So it's much easier to get rid of Pellegrini rather than Alexandro. It's the harsh reality, but that's the reality. And if that's what it takes to get a starting left back in, then that's what we need to do. Because I don't rate Sandro at all. I don't rate Pellegrini. I think they're both average footballers. And people say, oh, but he's on less money, on 1.3, so he's a bench player. I get that, but he's on 1.3 because he's average. No, that's it. And I'm not saying I want a prime Marcelo and a prime Dani Alves fighting for one spot. I'm not saying that, but I want a good starting left back and someone who's capable of doing a job, affecting a game in a positive way. That's not Pellegrini. That's absolutely not Alexandro. But like I said, it's easier to get rid of Pellegrini in this moment in time than Alexandro. It's a good thing that they both are open to leave, so you don't need to worry about that basically issue. But let's see how that will develop, especially with Keane. It was always PSG, but with the Mbappe saga and Leonardo getting sacked, I don't think they're gonna go for Keane. Whoever comes in, apparently it's Campos. I don't see him coming in and saying, yeah, let's pay 35 million for Keane. So I think that will be a big issue on its own. Let's see how that will develop. I will add that Giovanni Albanese said that Raspadori is the next big target, in terms of in front, in attack. That's the next big thing. But let's see how that will develop. I think the club is focusing on different areas of the pitch first, and we will talk about the different area, and that's the next name, and that's Kostic. Kostic is linked to Perisic at the moment. So Alfredo Pedula, who blocked me on Twitter, I didn't call him out, but he blocked me. He blocks everyone. He said, Filip Kostic has a couple of proposals from the Premier League, but his dream is to play in the Serie A. Watch out for Juve, who appreciate Kostic's qualities and who are looking for another winger after having defined the Di Maria operation. Now, he said it's linked to Perisic, because if Perisic stays with Inter, then yeah, Kostic becomes an option. However, if on Monday Perisic tells Inter, nah, that's not enough, and Inter say we're not going to offer more, then it's back to Perisic and Inter is going for Kostic. Now, do I believe we're actually actively trying to get Kostic? No, not at all. I think we're going for Perisic because he's on a free transfer. Kostic, he has a deal until 23, so you need to pay him, They just won the Europa League, they're going to the Champions League, so they're going to get some money. They're not going to tell Juve, you can have him for 5 million euros. So you're going to need to pay for Kostic. And that's the difference with Perisic. Yeah, his wage is going to be half of Perisic, what he's demanding. But still, for the club, it makes more sense to go for Perisic. Again, I'm not saying it makes, in the grand scheme of things, it makes more sense to go for Perisic. But between both of them, it's Perisic for the club. I don't believe you're actually trying for Kostic. I like Kostic because I said it in December something, because somehow we talked about Frankfurt and I said I would like Kostic if he's on a very good deal, because I love his energy. I like the way he plays. He will be a very good squad player, like a very good quality squad player, especially for Allegri. But let's see. Again, it's a weird name, pops out of nowhere because it's linked to Perisic basically. So let's see how that will develop, because apparently Monday Perisic will meet with Inter, and at that point you should have he's gonna towards staying at Inter, or he's gonna go. He's going and he's coming Juve. It will be something like that, so let's see on Monday what will happen with that story. And then we move on to something even more weird than Kostic, and that's Koulibaly. Now, Apollo Nomolo mentioned that I think months ago, saying the club is actually keeping an eye on the Koulibaly situation. De Laurentiis came out saying we want to keep him, but I understand if he wants to leave. Koulibaly tried to leave in the past. The price was too high. Nobody was paying 100 mil for Koulibaly, so he stayed. And Napoli, I think he has a deal until I think he has a 1-year deal left. I'm not 100% sure. Let me check. I should have done my research before I came. Before I recorded this video. Let me see. Koulibaly, because I'm not sure what his deal is looking at. He has a deal until 23. Yeah, so he has a deal until 23. Gazzetta dello Sport saying, for the transfer of Kalidou Koulibaly, Napoli would not close the doors to Juve, who would have to shell out a sum close to 40 million euros. Now, Koulibaly, he's a top player. I know he's 30 years of age. I understand that. I understand that fully. But like, again, 40 million, just forget about the price, because again, forget about the story in terms of is it legit or not. But like, if you have the opportunity to get Koulibaly and keep in mind, Chiellini is 37. He is amazing when he plays. The issue is injuries. That's the issue. So technically Koulibaly can play another 7 years. Do we think Chiellini is a better player? Of course, he's a better player compared to Koulibaly. He is. But Koulibaly is fantastic. He's 30 years of age. He will be 31, I think. I think at the end of next month. I think he will be 31. But 40 million euros for a 31-year-old, I think that's too much. I don't think the club is going to do that, But like, if you wake me up on August 14 or 13, when the first Serie A game is, and I see De Ligt, Koulibaly at the back, and people say, left-footed, playing out of the back, blah, blah, blah. But if you wake me up and you tell me you have Koulibaly and De Ligt at the back, that's amazing, At that point, I'm like, I don't care how that happened. But if you hear the price, 40 million euros, let me know in the comments. Do you think that's too much for Koulibaly? Again, not saying it's happening, not saying it's a legit story, but do you think 40 million euros is too much for Koulibaly? Should we just go for a Badashile for close to 40 million euros? Or should we go for Gabriel? 40 million euros plus, in my opinion, from Arsenal. Younger players, potential, still error prone. Like, they still make mistakes compared to Koulibaly, who is kind of clean, proven, world class, in my opinion. So let me know in the chat, because the price is going to be the same. 40-ish for Gabriel, 40-ish for Badashile, 40-ish for Koulibaly. It's just the age. One is 24, 21, 22, I'm not sure, and one will be 31 in next month. So let me know for that. Let me know that, basically. Do you think we should look at Koulibaly for 40 million euros, or are you saying like, nah, like don't do it, go for the younger options, because you are bringing in Pogba 29, Di Maria 33, 4. So let me know in the comments. But it's an interesting story. I think we should keep an eye on it, because the way De Laurentiis spoke, he's like, he's not gonna stay. He's not gonna sign a new deal. So we need to cash in this season, and we need to try to move him on. That's how De Laurentiis was basically speaking. So let's see how that will develop, because I believe he is gonna leave. But then again, Barcelona, Chelsea, they're losing Rudiger, Christensen, Azpilicueta. Like, they need someone, at the back. They need a central defender. So let's see how that will develop, because they could be in the market if they sort out their ownership issue and they can actually make moves on the market. But for now, it's not possible for them. That's why a lot of players are leaving. But let's see how that will develop. And then the final bit of news is linked to Pellegrini Alexandro, and that's the left back situation. Again, Giovanni Albanese spoke, and he said, which is good news, he said to be monitored is the left back position. After the probable exit of Pellegrini, and with Alexandro in the balance, a left back will certainly arrive. Udogie and Wijndal, the most popular names. Now, today there was a story that Ajax are pulling out of the Wijndal pursuit, and the asking price is 10 million euros. Apparently it's a release clause. Ajax are not in for him anymore, but a lot of European top clubs are. Again, 10 million euros. Am I the biggest fan of Wijndal? No. I like Udogie more. I can see his flaws, Wijndal's flaws, but he is very talented. But for 10 million euros, you cannot make a mistake. It's nothing. So I'm kind of surprised the club is not in for him. Also because he is within Raiola's agency. It makes a lot of sense, quote unquote. Like 10 million euros, that's kind of a steal, for a left back. If it doesn't work out, you will get your money back somehow. If it works out, that's an absolute steal, an absolute steal. My preferred option is Udogie. Again, attacking wise, Wijndal much better. Defensively, Udogie much better. And I'm looking at it, who's the coach? It's Allegri. It is what it is. He's not gonna get sacked. So you can give him Trent Alexander-Arnold, you can give him Robertson. They're not gonna play like that because we don't play like that, you know. So I'm taking that into consideration. And people can say you don't need to do that or like screw that, but he's gonna be the coach. Like, people do like Arthur, but he cannot function it under Allegri, so it's pointless to have him because he's not playing him. And even when he plays, he looks horrendous. So it's not helping him. It's not helping us as a fan, like as fans. So that's why I'm also going for Udogie. He played Serie A football. He's Italian. Like, some do like that, you know. Some think that's very important. I think it's just important. Can you play? Can you make a difference? Can you help us out? I think Udogie can do that. He will cost more, obviously, than Wijndal apparently, but I think he is more ready to play in Serie A, and I think that's what we need, you know, because we've seen what we have seen this season, you know. But let's see how that will develop. I think getting Di Maria and Pogba and like 2 transfers, 2 needs before the transfer window opens is big. You know, you get rid of Dybala, that's what it is. Bernardeschi is gone, you know, that's already 2 out. You need to replace them. Dybala, you know, like, there's a lot of work. That's why the club is moving fast, you know, because they know they need to fix a lot. Allegri came out after the game saying we are with too many. We need to thin out the squad. We need to make smart decisions. So I think it's clear they want a thinner squad, but a better squad. Let's see how that will develop. Let's see how they will, you know, how they're going to do that, you know, by moving fast, in my opinion. But let's see, because we know we have a lot of things to fix, you know. With Di Maria and Pogba, you fix 2 positions, you know. My opinion, quality-wise, 100% sure compared to what we have. And people will debate age-wise, and I kind of agree with them, you know. But I don't expect the club to bring in 6 under 21 players, and that's not the club. So let's see how that will develop. Excuse me. But that's the Transfer Daily extra news. You know, something different. We will talk about Pogba, Di Maria at the start of next week, because I think we will have a here we go, unless something crazy happens and they both say no, we're not joining Juve. And let's see how the news will develop from there, because we also need to sell. You know, now it's free agents leaving, but we still need to sell. So that's going to be interesting, because now we're just filling in positions with players who left on a free almost. We still need to sell players. So let's see how that will develop over the days. Thanks everybody for watching. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit that bell notification on, because it's going to be a busy summer. We're going to cover it, lives, all those things. A lot of new stuff coming up for next season. Giveaways, all those fun things. And yeah, thanks for watching, and we will see you tomorrow. Ciao.